this week's edition of The Bark.
Students took their SATs last week, so we got some info for you about that.
Also, students have been late due to buses being late, so we got some students' reactions for you.
And later, sports anchor Benjamin Will gives us some info about what's been going on in baseball and softball.
And don't forget about The Bark After Dark, our amazing entertainment section hosted by
Me.
Mid.
With all that and more for your weekly news, let's get started.
Welcome back to The Bark. We hope everyone is having a great week.
SAT testing happened last week, so we want to ask a student about how the test went.
All juniors and selected seniors recently took the SAT test, and we went on to ask them how they feel about it. The test was 4 hours long.
I felt really drained because it's a 4-hour long test.
Some juniors also took the ACE test last week.
Wow, that was boring.
Students have been struggling to get to school on time due to bus issues, so reporter Rena Hayes went out and asked students about their thoughts on the late buses.
Recently, buses have been late, which has been affecting students tremendously. In the morning, when the buses are late, students have to wait outside in the cold. And if their bus is late in the afternoon, students have to wait at school.
I see buses late every morning coming in at 9 o'clock sometimes. And I see that in the afternoon, me and my friends are waiting for an hour after school ends for a bus to show up. So yeah, I do think it affects a lot of people.
This not only is an inconvenience for students, but it also disrupts any type of schedules students may have for themselves when they get home.
If the bus is late in the morning, you're getting to school at the end of first period, and in the beginning of second. So yes, I do think it definitely also might affect your grades.
As you can see, the late buses mess up staff and student schedules, and changes need to happen soon. I'm Rena Hayes, Bark Media.
It's unfortunate those buses are so late.
And now we got our average sports anchor Benjamin Will giving you some info about what's going on in baseball and softball.
What did you say?
Average.
If you're wondering where I came from, you'll never know.
He came from the floor.
No, I didn't.
Welcome back to ZSPN. Baseball and softball have caught fire early on in the season, with the boys stopping the Pirates where they stood, and softball's been scoring a lot and not giving up any. All that and more on this week's episode of ZSPN. The 9 Mile War is transferred to the baseball diamond. The Bulldogs baseball and softball teams have recently played. Later I'll give you the results, but for now, reporter Maya Ruderman breaks down how this rivalry makes the teams feel and what preparation goes into it.
The long-lived 9 Mile War that's been going on for decades. Baseball took on the Pasco Pirates last Friday and came out on top with a 5-3 win. With the Bulldogs putting on a show, with one of the people who stood out was the pitcher, Mason Denmark.
This is my second year on varsity at Zephyr Hills High School. It felt great knowing that I had my team behind me, and it felt good to represent Zephyr Hills.
The boys have been having a great season so far with the hope of continuing this winning streak for games to come. The 9 Mile War rivalry has been going on for years, with us taking the win for most of the sports of the 2022-2023 season. The boys currently have a 5-0 record, defeating every team they've played. Tuesday, the girls' softball team also took on the 9 Mile War and played the Pasco Pirates, even though the outcome wasn't what we were hoping for. The rivalry lives on. Reporting on the scene, Maya Ruderman, Bulldog Beacon.
Sink the ship, folks. In other news, the XFL has officially finished up 2 weeks. Let's check the Week 2 scores and standings. The Battlehawks beat the Sea Dragons 20-18, and the Defenders defeated the Vipers as they defended the nation's capital very well. They won 18-6. The Guardians are leaving Orlando unguarded, losing to the Brahmas 30-12. Finally, the Roughnecks beat the Renegades 23-14. The Defenders lead the North at 2-0, followed by the Battlehawks 2-0, and then the 0-2 Sea Dragons and the 0-2 Vipers. In the South, the Roughnecks lead 2-0, followed by the 1-1 Renegades, the 1-1 Brahmas, and the 0-2 Orlando Guardians. In school sports news, the softball team beat Sefner Christian 12-2. The baseball team beat Pasco 5-3. Ha. The JV baseball team is struggling to find footing as they're off to an 0-2 start. The softball team lost to Pasco, but have already marked the matchup with them in the next calendar game. The baseball team beat South Sumner 8-3, and then to close out the week, the baseball team traveled to Newport Richey, where they would beat Gulf 11-1, moving to 4-0. Next week, Bulldogs play Tenorock, Hudson, and Hollins, but that's for next week. That's all I got for you, Bulldogs. I'm Benjamin Will of The Bark. Woof woof, signing off.
He really is average. And now for everyone's favorite part of the news, The Bark After Dark.
And don't you worry, Bulldogs, because I got you some info about some important games and movies like Scream 6, Destiny 2 Lightfall, and Wulong Fallen Dynasty.
This part of the show is mid.
Go back on the floor. Welcome back to the Bark After Dark, where we talk about games and movies. I'm your host, Christian Venton. I got some information about you about an Xbox and Nintendo deal that they made. It's a 10-year deal where the Nintendo Switch is going to get Activision Blizzard games. And some games that are coming out. Wo Long Fallen Dynasty is an upcoming action role-playing video game developed by Team Ninja. The game looks pretty good, and I played the demo, but I'm not too sure about it, and I'm not very interested in it, but I guess we'll see. And the DLC for Destiny 2 came out. In my opinion, I thought they did a pretty good job. The new abilities you unlock are pretty cool, and the new planet looks amazing.
Debatable.
But I haven't beat... You haven't even played it.
Nah, I haven't.
But I haven't beaten the DLC yet, so I'm not going to judge the story. Now, we're going to move on to movies. So they are making a 6th Scream movie, and the only thing I have to say about it is, why? It feels really unnecessary and repetitive, especially since the last one came out last year, but I guess we'll see. Well, that's all I got for time for. Thanks for tuning in, Bulldogs.
Here's some things to do over the weekend. That's all for this week, Bulldogs. Have a great week.